that you coached him in order for him to become a witness for the prosecution early on, in order for him to get into the witness protection program. Is he lying? Yes or no?
If number 7 said so, he is lying.
And you're telling the truth?
Solemnly the truth.
Okay. Thank you. Now, let's look at some statistics before we move on. The statistics I want to go through are the number of times you've spoken with the prosecution. Now, the court will have all the documentation in front of it, and the prosecution can correct me, can do their own calculation. But it seems to me that you've spoken to the OTP approximately 58 times. You were questioned for over periods of 43 days, for more than 164 hours. Does that sound about right?
Your Honor, I have not done such calculation, but I'm aware I have appeared and gave statements to the officers of this court at different times. But personally, I have no any statistics whatsoever. What I know is that I have given my the statements to the officers of this court on several occasions.
All right, thank you. And it seems that we have the list from yesterday of all the documents that you were shown. You ticked them off during the 6-day session that you were with the prosecution, which we'll get to. It seems that you have generated approximately 734 pages of evidence. Would that be about right, the amount of pages that you've reviewed over the period of 6 days plus since you've been here?
I repeat, my Honor, I have not done the calculation of number of pages that I have given as evidence, but I am aware I have given sufficient evidence to this court, both in both cases. Case against Mr. Ruto and son, and also to this current case.
Thank you. In our calculation, it shows 139 documents were shown to you between 7 February and 12 February during this so-called proofing session. Is that correct?
I confirm I have done the sessions and offered the paper that was here yesterday, that I gave my tips, and I have no objection to have done the exercise that I did last week.
Okay. You call it an exercise. Can you explain how that exercise went?
My Honor, I was given the documents that have been accepted in this court as exhibits, and I went through them, read, and after finishing every document, I had to put a tick to ensure, to confirm that I have looked at it and I have read it.
Now, this wasn't the first time that you were proofed in this case. There was an earlier session when you were proofed. You recall that? If you don't, I'll refresh your memory.
Please, you may remind me.
Okay. Well, it was this summertime when they flew you in here, and they spent three days discussing your evidence. Do you recall that?
What do you mean, summertime?
Well, July 12, 13, 14.
Yes, Your Honor. I was brought here and I looked and asked questions concerning the statements that I had given to the court officer.
And that was 2021, to make sure that we have it on the record.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. And by my calculation, they spoke to you, or you spoke to them, for a little bit over 10 hours. Would that be right, over a period of 3 days?
I confirm it was 3 days. I did not calculate the number of hours.
Something that during the proofing session in the Ruto and Sang case, when Mr. Steinberg said, well, I can understand that explanation that you gave then, it was necessary for the prosecution to bring you here before the charges were confirmed in this case, so they could iron out your answers concerning that particular event.
My Honor, it is my duty and was my duty to accept the call of this court whenever they asked me to appear. The protocol of when, how, and who should do that is not under my powers. I would like to add that what I understand is that this court have efficient officers, qualified, proven that they can do their work as required by law. And therefore, I want to make it clear that the intentions of the officers who brought me at that time was to ensure that they bring to this court evidences that they have looked into and that I have also provided, that I agree also to have provided to the better of my knowledge, that they are the true evidences. And therefore, as a witness, I cannot get into how the ICC offers their services or does its work, because I believe and trust to the officers that are working under this court.
Mr. Witness, I'm not suggesting that you call them up. They called you. That's what I'm trying to verify that whether during that 3-day period, they were going over an incident that occurred back on the 20th of July 2013, which Mr. Steinberg had said in the proofing session in the Ruto and Sang case, well, that he understood the reasons why you failed to mention that before. I just want that verification that 3 hours were spent covering that particular issue during that prepping session, that proofing session, because that's what it was. It was a proofing session. It wasn't an interview. That's what I'm suggesting.
Is there a question there, Your Honor?
Yes, there is.
My Honor,
It sounded very much like argument from the bar to me, Your Honor.
Yes, Mr. Witness, answer the question, please.
My Honor, to the best of my knowledge, the counsel is not asking me any question. He's trying to suggest how the ICC is supposed to work instead of asking me sufficient questions. I beg your protection, Madam President, that I am not brought into arguments on how ICC should work. Instead, I am guided on what I have taken oath to do concerning this case. I am ready to solemnly say the truth to the best of my knowledge concerning the issues that I have called to do on my desk as a witness.
Yeah, Mr. Witness, be assured that you are protected by the court. Be calm. Do not feel intimidated. I'm sure you are not. The defense counsel, Mr. Canavas, is barely doing his job. His questions are clear, I think. He's reminding you about a meeting of 2013 on the 20th of July. And what he wants to know is whether or not when you were called last summer, when you came here for those 3 days, 3 hours was spent with you by the prosecutors or investigators asking you as to whether or not, or for you to tell what happened during the meeting or whatever happened on the 20th of July, 2013, that you know about. That is basically his question. Am I correct, Mr. Canavas?
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better, Your Honor.
I confirm I discussed that matter. I don't remember, or did I do any calculation of time, dear counsel.
All right. Well, since you confirm it, we'll move on and we'll get to that at another point where I was suggesting that it was a proofing session. So let me move on to your CV. And here we may need to go into private session, Your Honor, so we don't identify anything that might reveal who this person
Madam Court
is.
Officer, can we go into private session, please?